The head of the Secret Service has devolved their defense of their organization's ability to protect the former president and is now on a slippery slope. And yes, pun intended. This was probably the stupidest excuse this person could have given. And once you hear it, you'll understand why. Of course, the director of the Secret Service is facing a huge backlash and blistering criticism Tuesday after claiming during an interview that personnel were not positioned on one top of the building where the T-Man rally shooter opened fire because of a sloped roof, despite images showing snipers set up on a sloped roof behind the former president's podium. In fact, if you look at it, I think they are almost the exact same slope. They are the same kind of roofs. It's the same area. All of the buildings in this area have almost the exact angle roof. And these are roofs that somebody who is 90 could traverse around with quite ease. We're talking about a slope like this. And they're saying they didn't put somebody there for danger. Even though that these snipers can be on the side of a cliff in Afghanistan, they can't handle a 10-degree hill. It doesn't make any sense, and it's actually it's pretty offensive to many people. U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle made the remark during an interview with ABC News in which she said that the agency was aware of the security vulnerabilities presented by the building that this gentleman took a pop at the Prez from. And it says that building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. Well, no, that is exactly what a sloped roof is. And so you know that there's a safety factor that would be considered there, and we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so you know the decision was made to secure the building from inside. What that also tells you is it's like she's looking at the same pictures we are. She's going, let's say, oh, yeah, it's a sloped roof. Yet, does she not know that the other people that were in this were on the exact same kind of roof? I mean, they almost looked like identical buildings as far as the slope goes. So is she looking at just the same pictures we are? Is she just literally watching Fox News or CNN and going, oh, that's a good one. I'll say it's because it's a sloped roof. It doesn't make any sense. These guys dangle on wires. These guys go on 600-foot cliffs. I mean, this is the stupidest excuse I have ever heard. Again, this is something that everybody is pissed off about. But critics on social media aren't having it and calling Cheadle's sloped roof comment total BS excuse that defies believability. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, before we move any forward, again, make sure to go check out Energy. If you don't have yourself a backup generator, we highly recommend getting yourself a solar generator and one of the best. This is actually the same generator that just won the STTR Phase 2 contract for the U.S. Army. If you want to go over and check it out, this is expandable. It's modular. It can be changed out. Just like Legos, you can add up to 96 batteries, or you can add mods that end up changing the overall performance or adding extra features. Or you can just take it with one battery and go to work or go to camp, go to tailgating, go to wherever you need with this generator. So go over and check it out, marfugglenews.com/energy, INERGY, and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. It can get its power from the sun, or you can plug it in like a battery bank, or of course you can even plug it into your car. So again, it's awesome, it's silent, nobody's going to know you have it, and again, nobody's going to hear it from 3 blocks away. All right, let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So do you want to go over this tweet by Wanita Broderick? And
more importantly, it's what Bongino had to say. So Bongino, as many of you know, is a former Secret Service agent himself, and has lots of experience and obviously has lots of contacts. But he went so far as he gave a lot more detail in this clip here. We probably could play it, but nonetheless, the important part is he's saying that his friends that are still there and people at a higher level are being directed to keep their mouths shut if they want to keep their job. Now, I mean, that could be an obvious statement. We don't know. Anybody could just make that up. If you think Bongino's making it up, I'm sure somebody will say that. But the guy's got a decent amount of credibility as it comes from, you know, his history with working in the Secret Service and obviously having connections and to all of those people that are still there, or most of the people that are still there. He's got friends there. So I would think there's a little bit of credibility, a lot of credibility, to be honest, here with what he's saying or the intel he is providing. So for what it's worth, they're not allowed to talk now. And I kind of wonder, you know, when an event like this goes down and bad things happen or screw ups happen, even if it's just a screw up and somebody just failed to do their job, why wouldn't you let people explain that to investigators? Why wouldn't you let people explain what happened and get the truth out there so you can improve and be better, as opposed to, keeping it all private and not allowing anybody to know unless there's something you need to hide? I think it's better if they would just be transparent. Do I believe we're going to get anything out of the investigation? I highly doubt it, because the same organization is appointed by the same person that appointed this organization. So let's hear Dan here.
Making up excuses, saying the pitch or the roof. My source says to me no one knows why the post didn't show up. But so that's a nonsense story they're putting out in the media. And I was also told that the Secret Service director has been given instructions from the administration and the DHS secretary. If you want to keep your job, you'll keep your mouth shut about this. They're not putting that out there, but if you get those site post logs and those police instructions and there was a post on there and they didn't show up and no one checked, someone could have got your dad killed within.
So, I mean, it makes sense, because if this was true, you're not seeing a lot of side comments, and except for speculation from the public. I mean, the slippery slope, it should be her career. I mean, at this point, she's probably going to be the person that gets chopped, as far as she's going to be the scapegoat, and probably going to be a week. This won't go away, and she's probably going to have to look for a new job. It was so crazy when we first covered this, Dex, when they first said, when she made the comments, she basically says, yeah, we really screwed up, but she wasn't immediately offering her resignation. Like, anybody, a second grader could see that this was a massive screw up. Anybody could look at a map of this and go, wait, that's the one roof across the street, 150 yards away, less than 500 feet. Yeah, I mean, some Olympians could throw a discus that far. It's crazy. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine, and they had told me, and I didn't verify the story, but it sounds correct to me. Even back during the O administration, someone had pulled a knife or had a knife at an event, or it got past, security. Heads rolled. Like, people were fired at the top for allowing that lapse of security for just something like that, as simple as that. Not even an attack. Just they pulled it out and got through. And that, it just seems odd that you take something as monumental as this and nobody's going to get fired over this one.
Yeah, that does not make sense at all, whatsoever. So it would be good to dig into why former directors in her same position have been completely canned, and what was the context around those events. I'm sure if you dug, you might find some interesting things. And then JB says that the Bullseye reference to T-Man was a mistake. Now, I've been hearing this since the 10 minutes after. I mean, Dex, was it not 10 minutes after this happened that we were already hearing this from Foogle fam, and people were talking about this? Like, we remembered that comment, because right after it, it's like people were going, wait, didn't JB just say this? And it was like the first day, everybody in our community was talking about this, but it's now taken a few days for it to really catch up and to get public eyes, because everybody's like, wait, why did he say this? Like, why were there so many comments about this beforehand? And of course, it goes one way in a lot of people's eyes.
Well, yeah, and I think he's just trying to backtrack this one to sort of say, well, I didn't mean Bullseye. I didn't mean, I didn't say crosshairs. I was talking about focus on and look, the truth of, and I love how he says look all the time. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was there's very little focus, and I'm just, I don't believe any of it, but at the headline is, and at least for the people out there that read the headlines, is he walked it back. I mean, to the extent that there is, a lot of language right now that's being used that is, some could even argue might be brainwashing the people that are hearing it, because it gets repeated either on social or drilled into them in the media that they believe that that's how things are supposed to be. To the extent that that language needs to be dialed down to at least a level of reality and not the hyperbaric level that they're at now, I think is a good thing.
So everybody's saying to turn down the rhetoric. People aren't going on and showing like fake JBs and then taking the top off their bodies and stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on for years and years. So it's really crazy to see how much stuff there has been. On either side, this is unacceptable. I just saw an argument between Piers Morgan and Destiny, this guy who does commentary. He's been getting really popular on Twitter right now because people are roasting him. But the argument was, this guy's Destiny's argument was, well, I see the other side doing it. And constantly Piers was basically saying, well, who are they supposed to look up to? If you're saying your only excuse is, I'm doing it because they do it. This sounds like third grade. So he used an example of how they made comments about Pelosi's husband and stuff, and how everybody made fun of that. No, it's stuff like that. Yeah, if you were going to set an example and you were not able to talk about the other side, if you made fun of that, if they made fun of something on your side, then yeah, that's true. But you cannot then complain about the people making fun of something like that and then turn around and do it without being a hypocrite. And that's the thing. Everybody is a hypocrite, and it goes back to second grade, the people that did that and the people that made fun of this. It's both sides are doing this back and forth, but there is absolutely no excuse by saying, well, they're doing it. Any one of our parents would have said, well, if they jump off a bridge, are you going to do it too? It doesn't make any sense. On either side of the aisle, everybody's excuse is the other side is doing it. And this has just got to stop. It's not, turn down the Reddit. You gotta stop the media companies from doing that. It's media and the social medias that are doing this. People need to be looking towards big tech. That's what I don't understand. People are looking at us, the American people. We're the ones that are getting fed this stuff by big tech. Big tech is the problem. Now, big tech and who is in charge of all of this. Exclusive 4 in 5 Americans fear country is sliding into chaos. No pun intended either. It's probably a slippery slope. Dex, do you want to talk about how 4 out of 5 people think we're heading towards trouble?
Well, that's the result of a poll. This poll they did right after the attempted on the former prez, and they came out and said like 4 out of 5 people, which is a significant number when you think about it, think that we're heading down a very chaotic path right now. And I think they're not wrong. I think a lot of people, everybody I talk to, has been shooken up by what's happened and can't believe this has happened. I mean, it's a big deal. And the fact that we've gotten to this level with our country and with the divide, and mind you, this divide has been programmed. I wholeheartedly believe it's something they've been trying to do. And I think they have actually won now. And if they continue, they're going to make it even greater. And if that's their goal, as Jacob says, buckle up, because it's going to get worse.
And then, of course, there was also another incident. One person perished after a Columbus, Ohio police officer helping out with security at a national convention shot a suspicious person near the GOP event's headquarters. Apparently had wielded a sharp object, a knife, 2 knives, in fact, swinging them towards police just before he got took out. The victim's brother told the Post that the man was homeless. It comes just 3 days after former President Donald was nearly taken out in a pop event on Saturday, and there's been heavy police presence at the RNC throughout the week. Now, one thing you will notice that has changed too, and this is something that's quite wild. Everybody talked about how when T-Man was surrounded, half of his security were actually a foot shorter than him. A lot of people, including Elon, made comments that are like, it's not that they're female, it's the fact that they are a foot shorter. That anybody, and I think he posted a picture of Brienne from Game of Thrones, and he says if they looked like this, then there would be no issue, right? But that was actually, it's a common sense thing. If it's a 6'3" person, you need 6'3" protectors, because their whole job is to be essentially the dartboard. They're supposed to be the thing that takes the blast instead of the president. And that's a savage job. I mean, that's crazy that their job is to literally stand there and say, this is my head instead of theirs. So it is one of the craziest and, I guess, bravest jobs you can do, especially in heightened tensions. But as far as now, they showed him at the RNC. Dex, did you notice that he had like 9 guys, all 6'5"? Like, these guys were massive guys. Did you notice that? And it completely switched. I didn't see in any of the clips I saw, not a single female Secret Service. They might have still been around, because he does have his crew. He's got his crew. He's had for a very long time, and I think he actually has a couple female Secret Service that he actually appreciates a lot. But I don't know. It's absolutely crazy. Now, Dex, as far as, do you want to give a teaser to what's going on and what the deal with Iran is, and what's going on with that?
Well, we'll be talking about this in our next show, so stick around for that. If you're in chat, you just hang tight. There is a new warning. I wouldn't say a new warning, a revived warning. And I'm almost surprised they didn't somehow use this as the excuse for this past attempt. But we're going to talk more specifically about what they're doing, and is this warning really something to be thought of, or that's real, or is it something that maybe they're just wanting us to have in the back of our minds, so they've got another excuse to use? So sit tight, because we're going to talk about that in the next show.
And again, if you think that this ended at the miss, then you are absolutely wrong. Whatever happened there when it missed, other things got put into play. Other stones started rolling down the hill. This is a prepper, any prepper here, and if you're a serious prepper, then you already should know. You should already be thinking in your mind, like, where is this going to go next? If this was a failure, then how have they taken any other failure before this? What other failures have they had? Well, quite a bit. If we're talking about if there's a concerted effort to get this guy out of the picture, and if there was anything really, really spooky here, then just think, they don't give up. So just keep your head on a swivel. We're going to talk about the threats against not only the United States, but against the Prez in the next show. If you want to follow us over to that, you can either stay in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, all you have to do is click here. We'll see you guys later. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.